All right, let's dive into one of the absolute titans of 20th century theater, Tennessee Williams' masterpiece, A Streetcar Named Desire. We're going to break it all down piece by piece in a way that's perfect if you're studying this for your IGCSEs and really need to get to grips with it. So think about this. This question right here is the absolute engine of the play. It's not just a meeting, it's a collision course between two people who are basically two different versions of America. And that powerful, messy conflict is exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, first things first, the world of the play. Because honestly, you can't really get the characters or why they do what they do until you step into the pretty turbulent time and place that Williams throws them into.
So picture this. It's 1947. America is going through some massive growing pains. The old world, the aristocratic South, is kind of crumbling. At the same time, you've got this new, raw, powerful, urban working class finding its feet. And on top of all that, the rules for how men and women are supposed to act are super, super strict. Streetcar is dropped right into the eye of that storm. And this is where it all comes to a head. It's basically a tale of two worlds. On one side, you have Belle Reve, this lost plantation that stands for everything old, faded, and built on illusion. And on the other, you've got New Orleans. It's loud, it's real, it's sweaty, and it's brutally alive. The whole play is basically a battle to the death between these two forces. So, we've set the stage. Now, who are the players caught in this clash? It's so important to remember they're not just random people. They're like walking, talking symbols of the very worlds we've just been talking about. And that brings us to Blanche Dubois. She's our tragic outsider. She blows in from a world that doesn't exist anymore, desperately trying to keep up appearances in a place that just has no time for her delicate, make-believe version of reality. Now, when you look at Blanche, you might just see her as theatrical or fragile, but you've got to understand, those aren't just personality quirks. They are survival tools. She's performing the role of a Southern belle because really, what else does she have left? And it's no accident that as Blanche starts to fall apart, the whole idea of the Old South she represents crumbles right along with her. And then there's the brick wall she runs straight into, Stanley Kowalski. He isn't just a character, he's a force of nature. He is the raw, unapologetic, hard reality of this new America. And he looks at Blanche and doesn't see a lady. He sees an invader. I mean, the contrast couldn't be more extreme. Stanley is everything Blanche isn't. He's practical, she's a fantasist. He's aggressive, she's fragile. And what drives him? One word: control. Control over his home, his wife, and the strange woman who's challenging his world. He's the face of a new kind of power, and it has zero sympathy for the past. And who's stuck right in the middle of this massive tug-of-war? Stella. She's the crucial bridge here. She comes from Blanche's world but lives in Stanley's, which means she's the one who has to make an absolutely impossible choice. Here's what's so tragic about Stella. She chooses. She picks Stanley's world with all its passion and its danger over her own sister. She represents the heartbreaking deals that people, and especially women back then, had to make just to get by. Her final decision to believe Stanley over Blanche is the play's final, devastating statement about which reality ultimately wins. Okay, so we know the people, we know the place. Let's trace how this all goes down. The plot of Streetcar isn't just a story. You should think of it more like the slow, systematic demolition of a human being, one lie at a time. The whole thing moves like a train heading for a crash. Blanche arrives and immediately throws Stanley's world off balance. For a hot second with Mitch, it looks like she might have an escape route, a little glimmer of hope. But Stanley is relentless. He digs into her past, and slowly but surely, that perfect mask she wears begins to crack and slip. It all builds to that final, horrific confrontation where he shatters what's left of her. And in the end, she's just removed, swept away because society can't deal with her. So we've done the who, the where, and the what. Now for the most important part, the why. What is this all really about? To get those top marks in an essay, you have to dig into the big ideas that Williams is wrestling with. These themes are the engines driving the whole story. You've got desire and how it can lead you straight to destruction. You've got that huge clash between what's real and what's make-believe. There's the battle between the old money and the working class, the brutal nature of male power, and the totally unfair double standards for men and women. Let's just zoom in on that central theme, illusion versus reality. Because the play asks a really tough question, and it doesn't give you an easy answer. Is Blanche's fantasy world just a bunch of lies? Or is it a shield she needs to survive a world that's just too cruel? And on the other hand, is Stanley's reality something to be admired, or is it just brutality with no heart?
Okay, this is super important for your analysis. It's not enough to know what happens. You've got to be able to explain how the writer makes you feel it. So let's pop the hood and look at the tools Tennessee Williams uses to make this play so powerful.
You've got to know this word, expressionism. Basically, it just means that what you see and hear on stage isn't always objective reality. Instead, it's a reflection of what's going on inside a character's head. So all that weird music, the strange shadows on the wall, that's not just for mood. That's us, the audience, literally experiencing Blanche's mind starting to break. And Williams is the absolute king of symbolism. You have to watch for these. That little paper lantern Blanche puts over the light bulb, that's her trying to hide from the harsh truth. Her constant bathing, she's desperately trying to wash away her past sins. The streetcars themselves, named Desire and Cemeteries, well, that's her journey right there. And the poker game, it's a perfect symbol of the raw, aggressive man's world she stumbled into. So why are we still talking about this play more than 70 years later? Because its questions and its conflicts, well, they haven't gone anywhere. It was a shocking play in 1947, and to be honest, it's still a deeply uncomfortable watch today. And it all comes down to this final famous line. It is just gut-wrenching. Why? Because the one thing Blanche has never, ever received is genuine, reliable kindness. It's the most tragic, ironic thing she could possibly say, as she's being led away by a world that would rather destroy her than help her. And that's what the play leaves us with. It forces us to ask these really hard questions that go way beyond the 1940s. These are questions for us, right now, in our world. Who do we decide to protect? Whose story do we choose to believe? And when someone is broken, who gets thrown away? That is the powerful, lasting challenge of A Streetcar Named Desire.